Now you don't have to put on the...
What? Well, okay. You know, I after so many years, I was
So, are we running with
I think we're okay now.
Yeah.
What do you think it does for the video if you turn on the...
Oh, it's turn on the light.
I wonder.
Backlighting is generally not
Terrible.
good. But let's see.
Maybe it's good for the video.
Okay, let's see. Well, let's see when you're sitting there.
The nice part is this one.
Yes. But the light underneath as well.
That's the nice light. The other one just shines in your eyes and blinds you.
That's the issue I have.
Okay, stay there and I'll put all the lights. We'll do some A/B testing here.
Testing it.
Okay, you watching? You watching the difference?
Oh.
Okay, and
I'm blocking them nicely. Helps the video, but if it shines in everybody's eyes, it's not.
I don't find it disturbing. Especially by day, you're not going to have that much trouble. Maybe at night it'll be more blinding.
Yeah.
Actually, do that all around.
באנגלית בעברית, פתאום שאתה לוקח את הספר מחוץ הארון, זאת אומרת, זהו, אתה צריך להשתמש בזה. הוא שם את הספר הלא נכון בפנים, זה לא בסדר. אומרים, once you take the safer out of the hour, you're committed, so צריך להתכנס את זה. לא, זה לא עשינו, לא היה. מה עשינו? זה לא היה בסדר היום. טוב. ככה זה.
Do it right. I'm probably the only Michiganer here who wants it to be perfect. That's why I pass. Hey, Josh. Good to come. Thanks for coming. Okay, we are in the Tzidkas Hatzadik, Ois Nun Daled. Sorry, Ois Nun Gimel. I apologize. Ois Nun Gimel. All right, why don't you get a book? You don't hold of it?
I haven't.
Here Tzadok says a big Kiddush, and I think it needs some explanation to understand what he needs a little bit of Torah Shabbal Peh here. But so the first couple of sentences. Dibor shel chol hamurgal b'fi ha'adam. Just regular talking that a person does. Dibur shel shmuzing, that a person does. Umargale bepume, and things that you seem to come back to. Like, right, we all have our things that, like my father used to say. So you always got to ask yourself, what are your kids going to say? My father used to say, what? So, Pirkei Avos, hu haya omer. But even if it's divrei chol, even if it's something which is just secular, he used to say, like, my father used to say the Buffalo Bills always win. Okay, at the end. So, dibar shachol hamurgul b'fiha adamu margale b'pumei. And it's something which is kind of said often. Hu divrei Torah mamash. This is mamash divrei Torah. What he's saying, what he or she is saying all the time, that's mamash divrei Torah. Va'afilu eitzel ish ha'hamoni miYisrael, even it's from a simple Jew, a pashut Jew, ish ha'hamoni, regular person, just a regular person is talking, but they say something all the time. So that is Torah. Why in the world is that Torah? Why is it Torah? I will explain in a moment. We find this a lot in the Gemara, where the Gemara says, Gemara mevi da'amri inshi. As people say, like the Gemara is a record of Torah Misinai. It's working with the Yud Gimel Midoy Shatar and the Dreshes man. What do we care about the Amri Inshi? So people say, so they say, Also, like one of the most bothersome ideas, which is so central to halacha, and I'm actually speaking about on Shabbos a little bit, is sometimes the Gemara has a suffix, which way to go, and the Gemara says, Puk chazei ma'alma devar. To see what people are saying. Well, I mean, if we're going to live now, let's say our lives according to what people are saying, what are we going to be doing? So, what is the puk chazei amad dvar? So comes Rav Tzadok and he says, the amri inshivahu divrei Torah. With the fact that people say things, that's considered divrei Torah. And it brings another raya from the first from a Gemara in Sanhedrin, which we'll go through together. Let me explain the idea here. There's such a thing that he brings in actually in the next couple of lines, such a thing which everyone has heard about, called the Shirish Neshama. So, meaning we all have a Neshama, we're aware, that's why we're here. We have a Neshama, and then there's the Shirish HaNeshama. So, I think that those that are unfamiliar with the terminology, Shirish HaNeshama, which is really a Kabbalistic idea, brought a lot in Chassidus and even in Sifrei Musar, and Rabbi Yerucham, by the way, the Mashgiach Lemir speaks all the time about Shirish HaNeshama. So what is Shirish HaNeshama? Shirish HaNeshama translated as the source of my soul. So like it's easy for us to say, the Arizal talks a lot about, easy for us to translate, well it means that, like you see this this great gadol, or Chaim Kanievsky has the neshama of Rava or something like that. I've just made that up. But Shirish HaNeshama is usually like some kind of a spiritual yichus or a pedigree that this person has the same Shirish and has the Shirish HaNeshama. He stems from this and this tzaddik or that. So we were talking on Shabbos. We were reading from one of the early svarim that Rabbeinu Tam was the Shirish Neshama of Yaakov Avinu, according to the Arizal. So the Arizal has a number of different words. Sometimes he says that it's a person is the nitzutz of that neshama, kind of like a spark that came out of that neshama. Sometimes he says it is the neshama, and sometimes it's the Shirish HaNeshama. So we tend to think that Shirish HaNeshama means this kind of like, oh, this is where he comes from, this is where she gets what she's going, because the Shirish HaNeshama goes way back to this, has been in the family for generations. So I want to explain here for a minute that that's not what Shirish Neshama means. Wrong shot. The correct shot in Shirish HaNeshama is that we have our body, we have our nefesh ruach neshama, which is, we learned a whole nefesh HaChaim, a whole sefer nefesh HaChaim about nefesh ruach neshama, nefesh HaChaim, is all within us, and it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. What's happening is that although the body has a beginning and an end, and it can be measured, the neshama of a person, so it's also the ruach and the nefesh maybe, but the neshama, naran, the neshama, only a small part of it is within your body. We're walking around with a small part of our neshama. Where's the rest? The rest of the neshama is in the world of Yetzirah, in the world of Bria, in the world of Atzilus, and even beyond. So it means to say that, like our neshama that we have within us, and we try so hard to be margish, the neshama within us, it's so important, is what distinguishes us from an animal, let's say. The neshama which is within us is just a part of the story, and it would be really cool if we would know, like, where's the rest of this neshama? Like, what is it? What's it all about? Where does it exist? One of the things, this is an old pismon, but it's just something I've been thinking about lately, and I just want to share, is that we always think about that we have, that we're not just a body, we're a soul. But I've been thinking a lot about the fact that no, we're not a body with a soul. We're a soul with a body. So it means that we are a neshama, and there's also a part, maybe a tiny part compared to the infinite level or measurement of, or the unmeasurable neshama. A small part of that neshama, for Hashem, for His reasons, wants it to have a human experience. Yes? So it means to say that what we're experiencing here, and we consider the totality of life, and this is it, and I'm suffering, or I'm happy, or I'm rich, or I'm poor, or I'm, it's all true. But that's a human experience. There's an infinite part of this neshama which goes way beyond anything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu decide to, like, it's like you would put your little finger, your etzba katana, into the water to see if it's hot or it's not hot, or to have the experience of that, whether it's hot or not hot, but like you're not immersed in mayim roishin. So the neshama piece of it is here. Where's the rest? The rest is called shorish haneshama. So when we're talking about shorish haneshama, we're not talking about the shorish in terms of a chronological time, that you're going backwards. What you're talking about rather is the rest of the story, the rest of the neshama, the rest of the spirituality which is within us. That it would, as I said before, it would be really interesting if we could figure that out. That shorish haneshama, like maybe we could figure out a little bit about our bodies. That that's for scientists and doctors to figure out. Maybe we could figure out a little bit about our neshama, but the shorish haneshama, it seems like it's way out there. But there are ways to access it, and if let's say, like, if you want to be like a real Rebbe, so like if you have such an aspiration to be like a real Rebbe, and somebody comes to talk to you and says, "What should I do? What should I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what decision needs to be made." So you could work with your seichel and help think something out with somebody. Good. So then you're a psychologist, you're an advisor, you're a wise person. But if you want to be a Rebbe, so the way to do it is to be able to take a look, like a Navi did, let's take a look at your shorish haneshama. And by looking at your shorish haneshama, then we can know what you should be deciding here and what you should be doing here, and b'chlal, what's your tachlis in life. This is an extremely important yesod that I'm saying here. The meaning that in fact, like just like another point about this before I go further, is that something I mentioned often in the last year or so, that we have thoughts. Thoughts come, thoughts go, thoughts change. And it's good. It's a good thing to have thoughts. Like, we shouldn't be thoughtless. But it doesn't necessarily define who we are. What defines who we are is the neshama. So I think this, I think that's here today, it's gone tomorrow. You can have a thought in your mind and forget it. Listen, wait till you get to my age. You have a thought in your mind. A minute later, you forget that thought. So what does that mean? You changed who you are? It doesn't. What it means is that a thought is a tool, but the neshama is what you are. So like the real things that we need to know in terms of like why what we're supposed to be doing in this very, very tiny mamish ke'etzba human experience that will do the right thing, the Ratzon Hashem, in terms of what this whole neshama is about, and neshama shenasata bi tahirihi atavrasa atayitzarta atanafachta bi. So this is what's important for us. It goes through many worlds like Atzilus, neshama shenasata bi tahirihi atavrasa atayitzarta bria yitzira. It's all in there. So like what we're discussing, like first thing in the morning, is what is our neshama, not what we're thinking. What we're thinking should be most of the decisions. Like I said, thinking is a good thing. I'm not, you have to think before you cross the street and stuff like that. Before you have to think in order to learn. But it's not the definition we are. So, like I'll piece that. Just this point that I'm making is the very first point that the Baal Tanya makes in the Kuntras Achron at the end of the Tanya. Ayin Sham, he's not the only one who makes it, but he does bring it. What it means is that the Tanya has a number of different sections. It has the Likutei Amorim, the famous thing, and then Yigaris HaKodesh, another famous, like the Sefer Tanya they see around, that has a lot of different parts to it. But at the very end of the whole Sefer, there's something called Kuntras Achron, which obviously the Baal Tanya was taken from things that the Baal Tanya said way back, but he added it like a final, final submissions into the Sefer Tanya Kuntras Achron. So the first thing he says in the Kuntras Achron is this yesod that what a person is their neshama, but it's not what they are here in this world. It's I think his words are diyuknoi lamala b'malas hakohen, which is the same kind of a language. We have our own diyuknoi lamala. Do you know, by the way, that when Yaakov Avinu encountered the Kehillas Hatzadik, when he had the great chaloim of seeing the ladder and malachim going up and down, what he encountered, as the Zohar says, and all the Svarim speak about it, what he encountered was himself. In other words, what he understood was that I'm not just another Joe or another Yaakov, but there's something here that's really connected all the way to the Kehillas Hatzadik. Ra demusai shel Yaakov chakuk al Kehillas Hatzadik. Lashon Chazal. His own demus was on the Kehillas Hatzadik. Well, what's it doing up there? It should be over here. And the answer is that was the Shulam. He understood that that he has a different tachlis. His neshama here is as I say, a human experience, but it's here for a purpose. It has a reason and a purpose, and this can only be discovered if you can get so far. I mean, fully discovered if you can get so far as the Kehillas Hatzadik. Which apparently is doable. Otherwise, there wouldn't be the story of Yaakov Avinu. That's the Shulam. That's why every pirush, so many pirushim on the Zohar are called Sefer HaSulam. The whole idea is to try to figure out. So this is my. I'm just going to say it again. This is my Rebbe lesson. If somebody comes to you, whether it's one of your children or a friend or a stam, somebody comes to you and says, like, what should I do? What's my career choice? Should I get married to this person? Should I not? All the serious life questions really are not answered properly. They're answered in a vacuum if they're not answered with a consideration of the Shorish HaNeshama, which one hopes that tzaddikim and gedolim have this siyata d'shmai to see the Shorish HaNeshama. I want to show you something. The Ramchal. By the way, I'd like to introduce this farm. This is a relatively new sefer called Das Ramchal. And what he does is he collects from everywhere in the Ramchal, according to topic, and there's Mafteach in the back, and it's actually quite helpful. But in the Ramchal, he says this in a couple places, but this is where he brings it over here. Under the heading of tikkun, or tikkunai. Like everybody has to make a tikkun, yeah? What does that mean? Schnapps, a tikkun. That's a tikin. Yeah. Also helps. So, tikunai, that's like such a word. You can't be in denial of that word. Like, in other words, you have to make a tikkun. So what's the tikkun? Like, what the tikkun means, the question is, why did Hashem choose at this point in history to put my neshama, a piece of it, here in this world? Why don't you leave me with the shurish and neshama, the way I was forever and the way I'm going to be forever? Just why is this little piece in this world? And the answer is to make a tikkun. There's some kind of a tikkun that needs to be made. So there's generally there's 3 tikkunim that a person needs to consider. The Ramchal says this in a number of places. One tikkun is the tikkun hashchina. You have to see what you can do to figure out how to make more presence of Hashem in this world. That's the tikkun hashchina. The other one is tikkun adam. You have to figure out like what your neshama needs to come to a stronger level of perfection that only this world can bring. Like it's really an opportunity in coming into this world to do a tikkun. And then the third one, which is probably the most popular because it's most accessible, is tikkun ha'olam. The Ramchal says these 3 things. The tikkun ha'olam means just make sure that there's no climate change, and make sure that I'm not being mazelzel. That's like a big thing. So make sure that there's bridges, and make sure that there's highways, make sure that there's wars or there's no wars or whatever. Like that's a level of tikkun ha'olam that it doesn't mean one is exclusive of the other. It could be that we have all 3 tafkidim in this world. But I know like a lot of Rav Tzadok talks a lot about the fact that like a lot of Kedoshim, like they pick their tikkun hashchina, and maybe for whatever reason they're so otherworldly, or what's the word I'm looking for? So like not part of this world, that there may be missing the tikkun ha'adam, that you have to get through the human experience. So of course, Hashem put us in this world and put us in another world, or the tikkun olam. People have to do tikkun olam also. So you got to make a contribution while you're here, because the point is we're here for a reason, and you have to be relevant. So that's called tikkunai, or tikkun adam. This is the Ramchal says, Mishi eshlai tikkunim gedolim l'sakein. If somebody, the problem with all this is that we don't know, right? Like that's the frustrating part. Like we don't know. Like probably the most asked question in one language or another is, what am I supposed to be doing in this world? Should I be learning more? Should I be giving tzedakah? Should I do chesed? None of the above. So, but whatever it is, we'll talk about that in a minute. Mishi eshloi tikkunim gedolim l'sakein. If somebody's got a lot of tikkunim to do, haderech haroihu, the right way to do those tikkunim, hu sheyiskasher b'shorsha. The only way to accomplish, says the Ramchal, the only way to accomplish the tikkunim that we were created to do, to fix, to repair, to improve the world, the only way to do that is sheyiskasher b'shorsha, is you got to get in touch with your shorish haneshama. B'kivan shemakoyrei Meir olav. Once I'm in touch with my shorish haneshama, and I need your imagination to picture this, but once I'm in touch with my shorish haneshama, kivan shemakoyrei, that's my makor, right? Meir olav, it's shining through me. It's shining through me. Mischazik by, that light in itself, which is coming by connecting with the shorish haneshama into who I am, all the way to the extremities of my fingers and toes. So that light, mischazik by, it'll get chizuk in it. V'oisem mashi yesh lo lasais b'li meniya. You'll be able to accomplish whatever it is that you're supposed to accomplish without any hardships at all. Wow, let me say that again. That if a person, we all have hardships. And often we say, well, if I have hardships, that means it must be the right thing. Like that's a nice thing that we say to comfort people. But like the Sutton is trying to get in the way. It might be true. It's not our subject. But what is true is that from the moment, you can see people that are, pick your heroes. You can see people that have extraordinary success. It's like almost shaloi kederach hatava. You can also see generations that have extraordinary success. I think we're living in one. Extraordinary success, it just doesn't make sense how Bli Ayin Hara, just as an example, Eretz Yisrael doesn't make sense. The amount of Torah that there is in the world after a Holocaust, it just doesn't. Like this, nobody was going to predict this, any of this. That there's more people that know Shas today probably than any time in history. I would imagine. How that all those. So that's a generation having success, and I believe that the Ramchal is explaining this. The reason why this generation is having so much success, doesn't go without manias, but a lot of siyata deshmaya, is because I think during the Holocaust we got in touch with our Sherish HaNeshama. That's what I think. I think whenever a tremendous calamity happens, to the Jewish people, like we're going through now, there's a certain moment of being in touch with who we really are, which is the Sherish HaNeshama. Now, does it last? Does it, for a hush of people, it lasts. But this is the Ramchal says, Kiman Shemakayr Meir love. So this is like the tefillah. Let the Sherish HaNeshama will actually produce a certain light that will go through me. And it doesn't mean you're going to glow in the dark, but it means that you'll glow in gullus. There'll be a light which shines from me. And when I have that light, nothing will stop me. I will be unstoppable, not from the Shemayim, not from the Aretz. I will be unstoppable in getting my goal. So what's the success? What's the secret to success? It says of being able to accomplish everything that we dream of accomplishing. First thing is dream of accomplishing it. That's the first step. Second step is because it's not just like, okay, now, you see how he's taking this to another step. It's not just now, okay, well, I got in touch with my Sherish HaNeshama. No, it's much more than that. Once I get that sort of light from my Sherish HaNeshama, and now I really know what I'm doing, I'm a man with a mission, there can't be any mania. All of this fantastic Ramchal comes from the Biurim al Tanakh, Parshas Achrei Mos. He brings. Of course, all of this makes the question much more, compelling as to how the person's supposed to know what their Sherish Neshama is. If I knew the answer to that, I would have endless lines of people, standing and giving me money to tell them. I will say one thing. I don't want to keep you in suspense with this because Rav Tzadok, I believe, addresses this in part. But sometimes, people don't even know their own Sherish HaNeshama, but you can see in history, like what their purpose was in this life, like unclear, no doubt at all, like what they were there in history for, and they themselves didn't realize it. You know what I mean? It's like Mordechai said to Esther, maybe it's for this that you became the Malka. Maybe. I mean, it's the whole story. The whole story is she became the Malka. Why would Esther become the Miss Persia here? And the first, why would that happen? Maybe because of B'Shas Maisa, you're not sure. I think that's the simple job. B'Shas Maisa, you're not sure, but I mean, history certainly knows that if not for Esther, not only wouldn't be a Purim story, wouldn't be a Bayesheni, and the whole thing would have happened. The whole Jewish history probably would not have continued. That's why we have Purim. But you don't always know. But I just like on a more contemporary level, like I heard from my Rebbe many times. He used to say that, like, it's and there's other examples of this, but the Malbim, his magnum opus, Malbim, it's got a lot. One of the Dolev, his magnum opus was the Artzos HaChaim on Shulchan Aruch. He wrote multiple volumes on the Shulchan Aruch halacha. We have one little thing on tzitzis and another little thing on tefillin called Artzos HaChaim, and that's like the first 2 volumes of a 50-volume set that was burnt during a pogrom. Gone, and not, like no backup. In those days, couldn't do any backup, so it was simply lost. His Pirush on Tanakh, which we are all familiar with, he wrote that pretty quickly, apparently, and it was because the maskilim in the area that it was in were like messing around with psukim and claiming that diktuk means this and diktuk means that, and all kinds of things that they were saying. So the Malbim wrote a Pirush on Tanakh. This is what it really means. It would be like saying that the Ikar of Rav Hirsch was that he knew Chumash. Hirsch was changed the world because he was a good Pirush. It was good on Chumash. First, good. Not even so good. I mean, like it's not even like for us. I don't find it's like I look at the Ramban first, but he did something. Elamai, the Malbim himself didn't. Of course, he went through all of Halach and all of Shulchan Aruch and all of that, but apparently history said that the purpose of the Malbim was to write a Pirush on Tanakh. So when we think the Malbim, we think Tanakh. When we think Hirsch, we don't think of his Shilos and Shuvas. It's very interesting, by the way, Rav Chaim Volozhin, who was like the Rosh Yeshiva, the quintessential Rosh Yeshiva. He was the Rosh Yeshiva of the whole world, the Ava Yeshivas. We have so little like Yeshiva Shatayr from him. We have the Nefesh HaChaim, we're all learning. The Ruach Chaim on Pirkei Avos. It's so interesting that he should have been not Reb Chaim Brisker, but he should have been the source of all yeshiva charade, because he invented yeshivas. But that's not the way it worked out in history. It had to do with something else. So there's a lot of examples in history. I mean. That people don't even know when they're living it, that they're living, what's going on. So some of this you have to just do what the right thing is, and let's not go to Shbark. Comes from Tzadok, and he says that here's something you can look at. Talking about Sherish HaNeshama, here's something you can look at. You can look at Dibur. And I'm just getting right to what he says. You can look at Dibur. Dibur, what we're saying. Now, everybody knows the history of speech. The history of speech is not just like the tigers run fast and people know how to talk. We're created with a relatively, I think, weak body compared to most of the animal kingdom and even non-Jews. I don't think whatever we can run, animals can run faster. Whatever we can jump, animals can jump higher. Animals can fly. They have their purpose. But the sort of the defining point of the human is that he can speak, and the reason that we can speak is, let's not lose the first chapter of the Chumash, Vayipach ba'apav nishmas Chayim. That because, why can we speak? We can speak because Hashem blew into our nostrils. What did he blow into our nostrils? The Ruach Mamalala, as the Targum says. Everybody knows the Targum, but it's a much deeper. Nishmas Chayim, as the Targum says. The Neshama, which is the Shirish HaNeshama, yes? The Shirish HaNeshama was now blown into the person, animated the Adam Harishon in Gan Eden with Hashem's. We don't find that Hashem went to all the cows and blew into their nostrils, or even the first cow. It's not that was the way of creating life. That's not that Hashem didn't need that to create life. The fish are swimming already. Didn't even have to be on the sixth. Everything was happening. The trees were growing. Hashem wasn't walking around Kiviyachol, blowing into every fish's nostril. But just a person, Vayipach ba'apav nishmas Chayim. Why? Because here was a special creation where the Shirish HaNeshama is going to now enter into the neshama hatachtis, as it's called. In other words, there's the Kehillas Shivtei Yeshurun, which now enters into the person, and once it enters into this person now and gets temporarily hosted by this goof, or it hosts a goof, however you want to learn it. As I said at the beginning, a better way than saying that every body has a soul is that every soul has a body. Okay, this happens to be the body that Hashem gave you. But the Shorish HaNeshama is such that it's blown within us, and this makes us human. And here's how it comes out, Gavaldik, B'dibur. Dibur, like to me, when a person talks too much, blah, 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 blah. So like, okay, like it's not like a simon of a Talmud Chacham, talking. But, usually like if you all of a sudden find yourself talking too much, so it means one thing: it's time to be quiet. You have to talk so much. But here's the thing: that speech is the Shorish HaNeshama entering in the body and coming out in speech and being developed in this world of speech. That's why a baby can't talk, but it's a learned thing. But at the end, we can articulate something, and it's not just, says Rav Tzadok, this is the teaching of this Rav Tzadok that we're learning. It's not just a like a tool. Okay, now I could articulate my neshama. It's an actual articulation of the neshama which is within me. That's what dibur is, which is a hemshech of the shorish neshama, which is lamala atzilos bria yitzira asiya, right into my tongue. And like the Ikar of Hilchos Lashon Hara, for instance. So the Chavetz Chaim. I always look at the Chavetz Chaim. But before the Chavetz Chaim, there was the Ramchal, and the Ramchal speaks about it, and he talks about like what an unbelievable violation it is. What an unbelievable violation it is to take that Shorish HaNeshama, which is like coming like mamish from the Kisei HaKavod, and goes through Vayipach Ba'apav Nishmas Chayim, and I say something I'm not allowed to say. Like it's not just a bad thing to do. It's like a violation of the whole Tzelem Elokim. Speaks about whole Tzelem Elokim is violated at this moment, and it's a sign if you find yourself like enjoying talking Lashon Hara or hearing Lashon Hara, you got to be bodek your own neshama. Like why do I like that? Why do I like that? Something chaser b'leif tov, So talking, when it's used correctly, is a manifestation of the neshama and the shorish neshama lamala. Let's read the Rav Tzadok again. Nun Gimel. Dibur shel chol hamurgal b'fi ha'adam umargala b'pumei. If you find yourself saying something, or you find somebody saying something all the time, they always say this, they always say, hu divrei Torah mamish. What does it mean, divrei Torah? It means that this is, what you're hearing there is the Shorish HaNeshama trickling into this word coming out of his mouth. Afilu etzel ish ha'hamoyne miYisrael, even if it's a very pashut yid. U'kamaysheni'ra harbe b'Talmud, we find this in Talmud, the Amar Yinshi. Who cares? Because Amar Yinshi, you see, I think Puk Chazei Mad'am Dvar is the pshat that there's a manifestation of neshama in the Amar Dvar. Now you need to be like that gadol to be able to distinguish between that's the Ruach Elokim or Shtuyot, because you can use speech either way. But Puk Chazei Ma'amad Devar is what the Gedolim and the Gemara were telling us. Like, if you want to understand, let's see how it manifested itself in this world. That's what they're saying. Kedamri Inshi, V'hu Divrei Torah, but Parakam in the Sanhedrin, Harbe. There's a whole bunch of cases on Zayin Amud Aleph, which I brought the Gemara here. Hahuda v'Kamar v'Azal. Amar Shmuel Kruxi. So look at the Gemara. It's like not an easy Gemara, actually. But the Gemara has a bunch of expressions, and Daf Zayin Amud Aleph in Sanhedrin. A whole bunch of expressions that people say. Like, I'll give you one or two. Hai tigra dam yilatzinoira de bitka de maya, even the ravach. That so an argument is like a flood, like an overflow of the gedud of the banks of the river. Even the ravach, Rashi explains, once it gets out of hand, it gets out of hand, like it becomes a flood. You got to be very careful with that. So the Gemara says that Shmuel said, Amalei Shmuel, Kroksiv, it's a pasuk. That idea is a pasuk, Paiter Mayim Reshis Madon. Paiter Mayim, that if water gets loose, which is the symbolism of machlokas, like once you let it out of the can, Reshis Madon. So Rashi says, interesting, I know this, Nutrikin Resh Madon is a pasuk, but it is Nutrikin Resh Meya Dinim. It's going to bring you 100 bad things, machlokas. Over and over again, all these different expressions. Atarti, people say, Atarti tlos gan v'loy miktel. That if you get away with, you can get away with, that basically means you can get away with a crime once or twice, but don't get too smug because it's going to end up by the third time you're going to get caught. Like people say, like, I'm on a roll. So like I've robbed 2 banks, but just stop while you're ahead. and don't keep on going. So Amalei Shmuel, so Shmuel said, Koyamar Hashem al shloisha pisha Yisrael v'al arba lo yashiven. You can get away with it 2 or 3 times, but the 4th time, it's not going to happen. I would imagine what that means is that, like if a person does something wrong, I'm not recommending it, but if a person does something wrong, it doesn't necessarily define who you are, Everybody does things wrong, even once, even twice, maybe even 3 times. But once it becomes like a lifestyle, arba lo ashivena, comes Shmuel and he brings a pasuk. Whole bunch of them over here. Somebody said, Ahuda v'kamer v'azal, Shev bired l'shlamana v'chad lo'oived bish. If you're doing good, you will encounter, that's what we were talking about before a little bit, if you're doing something good in this life, you'll be able to encounter 7 borot, 7 obstacles before you, and still get through it, doing the right thing. But if well, good, you're almost like Shmuel. You're like Shmuel. So Shmuel said, whereas if you're doing something bad, chad lo eved bish, you're like, one you already fall in. Like if you're not doing the right thing, if you're doing the right thing, you encounter problems, but you just keep on going. The wrong thing, that's what people say. Kroksiv, says Shmuel, ki sheva yipol tzadik v'kam. Etc., etc. There's some good expressions here. If you like want to really sound like Talmid Chacham and you observe a situation, you say something like, "Oh, hi nayam of a dikula shafil." Say something like very Aramaic, and everyone will think like, okay. But I just try to get to the essence of the fact that Shmuel, the great Shmuel, was the one who took it upon himself to take all the expressions, let's say in our days, you're going to take all the smart things that Benjamin Franklin said, or something like that. There's a lot of smart things out there. There's a lot of smart things out there, but you're going to find a pasuk. What's the purpose of finding a pasuk? Like what? Like let's say, that's already a pasuk. What's the purpose of finding that pasuk? Yeah, but what do you? Like if Benjamin Franklin said a smart thing, so he said a smart thing. Well, Benjamin Franklin, what are we getting so excited about? Like a mila de la Ramiza Baraisa.
Coming into the world, no? Like the inspirational call coming into the world, that's what you're talking about? If that's the little kid talking soup.
Okay, so so just say clearly.
I'm saying maybe
articulate.
Maybe it's an inspiration coming down. That's why people are articulating, because they're getting this inspiration from a higher place.
Very nice.
It's godly.
It's godly. I mean, like it's always quoted from the Rambam, like Kabbalas ha'emes misha amrei. I said in a shiur that I couldn't find this Rambam. Everybody quotes, but your son showed it to me. So the beginning of Pirush Mishnayos, if you look at Kabbalas ha'emes misha amrei, it's attributed to Muhammad, I believe. But in any case, Hagufa, Kabbalas ha'emes misha amrei, the expression itself, like, does it require a pasuk? So what you're saying is, and what he's saying is, this is not like because we're insecure and we only believe in the Torah, and like sometimes, like I find myself when I'm speaking somewhere, so there are certain people in the audience that they constantly need to be, even though they never heard anything like I'm saying before, it's completely Kiddush. They always, to themselves, are always mumbling, yeah, I also was thinking like that. Yeah, that's the question. I get that a lot. I don't know why people have that need to do that. So, but so good. But I don't know what that is. But the point is that what Shmuel was saying was, this chiddush that not every expression that the world has, but this expression is something, as Gil's saying, which is coming from the shirish, the neshama, trickling down into this world, until it came into this guy's mind. That's what Rav Tzadok is understanding the Gemara. I was thinking how this works. Help me with this for a second. The Gemara says that Shmuel in particular, Shmuel was a great Tanu Pulig. The time of the end of the Tanoim, beginning of the Amoraim, Rav Tanu Pulig. So Rashi says also Shmuel, but Shmuel was also a famous astrologer, as he was, and he was a famous medical doctor, and people went to him for Eitzah all the time. Like Shmuel was considered, like if you went to Shmuel, like if we had Shmuel here in our generation, the lines would be to just try to not just we need some medical advice, but what Shmuel I believe was an expert in was, if I'm permitted to say, was this integration of Shemayim v'Aretz. Like in other words, so that's why the Gemara says that Shmuel knew the Shvila de Rakia, like he knew the Shvila de Nardo. Who cares that he knew? I mean, they're just saying, must speak to say he knew the Shvila de Rakia. We're already impressed. But he knew the Shvila de Nardo. Or as I once asked, like, why did he even know the Shvila de Nardo? Yeah, I'm so far from it. People keep telling me about Park Yarmouth. I have no idea where it is. I don't know. But it's explaining. You go here, you go there. But Shmuel, on the other hand, was a Bucky. That he was a Bucky of the Shvila de Rakia. So, come in here. Why was he a Bucky of the Shvila de Nardo? Probably a big city. And he knew every street corner, and he knew every derech. So he had a good sense of direction, or he was like a ancient ways machine. Like what was my love? But the answer is that to Shmuel, I think the answer is that Shmuel lived in this world, and he completely integrated the Shvila de Rakia to the Shvila de Ara. I think that's the pshat. So it was maybe other Tanoim or Amoraim weren't able to do what he was able to do, which was it was all one thing, Shvila de Rakia, Shvila de Ara. So it feels to me like it makes sense, this Gemara in Sanhedrin Dav Zayin, where every time he heard something which is correct, to Amri Inshi, so he said, this is a pasuk. Let me show you where that's coming from. And he brought a pasuk. And it's just a fascinating way of learning. Let's just finish about 2 minutes. Let's just finish the words here. But Parakaman to Sanhedrin Harbe, you find a lot of cases, I think there's about 8 of them. There's a simon in the Gemara, Pashas Zaz Simancha. Ahu Dahavi Kamar Va'ozil. People would go and say, V'amar Shmuel Kruxi. That was always his response. He called Nefesh Yisrael, because when it comes to Jews, I guess these were Jewish expressions, called Nefesh Yisrael, Yeshlei Achiza B'divrei Torah Miyuchedes, has a special pathway in Divrei Torah, Kanoida, as is well known, Ubedibur, and here's the key sentence, Ubedibur Shemargala B'Pumei, that whatever your dibur is, what you find yourself saying a lot, that's Zehu shirish nafshe. So all of this big schmooze I gave was just to understand this sentence. That the dibur is the one opportunity to take a look at ourselves or to others and listen to what they're saying. Listen to what they're saying, and not only don't take it at face value or not only try to analyze it psychologically, but look at what they're saying, and what they're saying is Vayipach ba'apav nishmas Chayim. This is the Ruach Elikim, which is coming from the Shirish and the Shirish Neshama, and this is how I'm placing it in this human body right now. And that's the Hu HaYomer of Pirkei Avos. That's the importance of all of Pirkei Avos. Hu HaYomer means to say, he said it all the time. And nobody said, maybe they did say, like, Hillel, you're repeating yourself. Why do you always say that? The Hu HaYomer, he said many things, but the Hu HaYomer is, that's really like the definition of his contribution, let's say Hillel or whoever, here's an important one, like Shmuel HaKatan. Shmuel HaKatan said, what's his Memra? No? Remember, Shmuel HaKatan. It's not the Shmuel HaKatan. Binfola yivcha al tismach. If your enemies fall, so don't rejoice in your enemies falling. That's a big nisayon these days. Binfola yivcha al tismach. So all the Mefarshim asked, Bartanura, everybody asked, like, that's a chiddush, that's a pasuk. You didn't need Shmuel to come in Pirkei Avos. Pirkei Avos is the words of the fathers. So this is Binfola yivcha al tismach is from Shlomo HaMelech. So I think. So if it's from Shlomo HaMelech, so what are Shmuel HaKatan Omer Binfola yivcha al tismach? The teretz is that what Shmuel HaKatan understood was, this is the message that I'm meant to do with my tikkun in this world. Yeah, that's why he wrote V'lam al shinim al tisikvu. L'm yesh adam sheyodei l'sakein tfilas haminim at shekam Shmuel HaKatan. The Gemara says Shmuel HaKatan was able to say V'lam al shinim. Why? Because he was the only one who, in his essence, Binfola yivcha al tismach. But okay, that's beautiful. But the point is, I don't want to lose the point. The point is that this was the Dvar Hashem running through his veins. It wasn't just like, okay, I got a pasuk for you. He did the same thing as Shmuel, Shmuel in the Gemara and Daf Zayin, different Shmuel. I have one more minute. Let's just finish the parentheses. Ki adibur hu yisoid on nefesh. Targum nefesh hachaim. Dibur is the yisoid of the nefesh. Targum nefesh chaya ruach memal, as we said. Mashamar bepsikta ein bein tzadikim hachaim lamesim elo hadibur. The main point of being alive is that you can manifest your neshama el yoina with your dibur. Zehu yisoid hachius umizeh yuchal adam lamed al sherish nafshe. This is how you can tell what your shirish neshama is. Ladas ma and yanai bazel olam. Figure out what we're doing here all together. Okay, gavna bereish psachim, and this is the pshat in the Gemara Psachim daf daled ahuda have amar shmaminda bidan kaasi. The Gemara says there that if somebody walks around all the time and all you hear him saying is don dini, like the Gemara Psachim daf daled says, the person says don dini, sumi, ishkazet, I'll see you in court. You better get yourself a lawyer. So a person talks like that all the time, like they have that kind of a tendency in their dibur. So the answer is they're from Shevet Dan. Why is it important to know that he's from Shevet Dan? And the Gemara has all the Shvatim, a list of all the Shvatim, what they said, what you hear them say a lot. Why is it important? Because that's part of the Sherish Neshama, what Shevet you're from. That's all part of it. Like to figure out, you see, Avraham for you it's easy, because you're from Shevet Levi. But Levi, everybody. But for the rest of us, it's very complicated. We know which neshama, so you know something about your neshama. And by the way, it's consistent. You find Kohanim, Levians, it's consistent. Right? You sing Masharis, like it works. So this is the Nakuda. So the summary of the whole thing, in a sentence, is that Dibur is the nerve ending of the Sharish HaNeshama Lamala. This is where it all comes, and from that dibur, you've got a view into the whole thing, all the way up to your shevet, and all the way up to the kisei hakavod, and then you know what we're doing in this human experience altogether. Thank you very much.